So yeah, dude, I just think we need like some lubricant. Wait, fuck, how did I say it
Bro,
before?
what? I don't want you to repeat it. I'm not gonna help you in your
Like, are
strange
you
it,
serious,
bro.
bro? That line was literally the best thing to ever be said on this podcast, and I don't appreciate you
I'm
not supporting me in
definitely
this
not
very trying
supporting it
time.
because I think that was a weird intro. We could have gone with the standard. What's up, guys? Welcome to the
That was the
Modern Ones
best
podcast,
intro.
episode 12. But no, you wanted to talk about like lubricant. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
We're gonna have our fucking Beatles moment at some point, dude. We're gonna just fucking. You are Yoko Ono right now. I'm just like I don't want
I'm
to be
gonna be
offensive, but you're
honest.
literally
I
Yoko
don't
Ono.
know individual members of the Beatles, but I'm gonna say that's offensive.
You know,
Yeah, I'm
it probably
offended. I'm
is.
offended.
Speaking of offended, I'm offended that the My Hero and JJK chapters were so short this week.
Really, I feel like they were both out long. They both felt like long chapters.
I hate saying this all the time, but like nothing really happened. Like it's not necessarily a bad thing if that's any consolation. Like I don't think something has to happen like major every single chapter, but you know, it would be
Huh.
nice.
In both chapters, you think nothing happened?
Well, okay. In JJK, something always happens because Gege is like an absolute beast when it comes to just getting from point A to point B. Like he is the most concise pace monster out of like any mangaka I've ever read, except maybe like Tagashi,
I
right?
agree that this is more setup, but I mean, we just basically outright said, yeah, Deku's out of like the little facility now, so now we're ready for war. I feel like I don't know. I feel like that was kind of a big development, not necessarily like a super world shaking one because we've known this is gonna happen for a while, but they've gone from their kind of like slice of life, chill environment to like it being the day they're about to throw down. I feel like it's good enough for me. I like the character interactions in this
Yeah,
chapter. I thought it was pretty dope.
you and I have both said this before, and I think we're going to keep saying it until like eventually Horikoshi drops that like big bombshell chapter. Shigiraki finally kills All Might. Damn, this dude has taken his sweet time getting into this arc.
I think so, but I think he's been doing that for a while, but I don't think this chapter is like exemplary of that. To me, this is almost like not unnaturally fast because it's not like a super fast paced chapter, but for Horikoshi to go from they're just finalizing their plans while they get to stay like the UA facility to, we get a bunch of wordless panels and then they like leave in order to keep All for One away from them. Like I feel like even that before like with the way he paced it earlier would have taken like 2 or 3 chapters. I feel like we just kind of skipped forward a little bit and we're just like, yeah, all right, wartime now. And with the character interactions, I kind of appreciate it.
Speaking of those character interactions, that was actually a highlight for me. It was nice seeing them, like the main trio, Bakugo, Deku, and Todoroki, having their little moments, especially Todoroki and Bakugo
Mm-hmm.
talking about Dabi. Okay, I'm not a fan of this. Personally, this is my own
Mm-hmm.
personal taste that I'm expressing right now, right? I'm not a huge fan of saving someone as far gone as Shigaraki, and especially Dabi. Like they're both like murderers, you know what I mean? And like brutal ones at that, especially
Mm-hmm.
Shigaraki. So when I see Deku saying some like scared little kid shit on the inside, or I would like to have soba noodles with him
Mm-hmm.
on Todoroki's part, all I hear is, damn, these guys are gonna get so arrested.
Todoroki, I think, is definitely being
like I,
sarcastic, but that's just my interpretation of the scene. I thought that was sarcasm on his part. But for Deku,
uh,
go
it
ahead.
just seemed it just seemed like thematically similar because of like what Deku said and what Uraraka said
I
about Toga.
agree, but I think that Dobby is like portrayed to be more far gone. But that's just me. As for like, it's funny you say this because me and one of my homies were having the same conversation earlier. I don't think that Shigaraki is too far gone or like Toga's too far gone. And I don't even think most people, like anime watchers, are consistent with their thinking of like murderer equals like irredeemable. Like most people don't hold that line of thinking. Maybe it's because Shigaraki's currently in the antagonistic role, which plays a part into it. But like for example, let's take Killua, right? He's an assassin
Mm-hmm.
for crying out loud. But nobody bats an eye at him being a redeemable character that grows to be what some would consider arguably good person. So it's not the action of killing people, at least not consistently. Maybe people pick and choose when they care about it, but like I don't think that like the act of having taken lives means you're now like it's impossible for you to be redeemed. Nor do I think that just beating Shigaraki up and throwing him in prison or even killing him, it wouldn't make sense within My Hero. It wouldn't make sense for the themes of the series, and I just think that's like one of the
Uh,
worst conclusions. Like obviously it probably could be done well, but I just think that like That's one of the worst conclusions it could come to for me.
Yeah, and like not even Shigaraki. Like if they leave All for One alive at the end and he gets arrested again, it just seems like you're setting yourself up for this to happen a second time. Like it seems irresponsible to just arrest All
Yeah,
for
I mean,
One.
I can see the argument for like characters like All for One because he's just hated. I'm pretty sure to like have no soul. Like people like him that just show no have shown no inclination to change. Sure, I agree. I just think like I want to put this on the record, right? So we can look back at this one day and be like, wow, Ronin's so intelligent, Ronin's so smart, right? When people see that Deku is going to save Shigaraki and that Uraraka is going to save Toga in some capacity, that doesn't mean befriend them, right? Or mean like absolve them of their crimes. But when they are saved in some capacity, I can almost guarantee the backlash is going to rival that of Attack on Titans. I want to put that on the record. That is going to get so much hate.
I have
I can only. That's going to be interesting to see on the timeline.
I don't have any frame of reference for the Attack on Titan thing, so I'll just take your word for it. It's a little interesting.
I was just going to say,
Sorry,
just to give you a frame of reference, imagine thinking in the span of like 2 or 3 chapters, that Hunter x Hunter went from a 10, or One Punch Man, in fact, went from a 10 to a 5. That's what people think Attack on Titan did in the span of 2 chapters. Because before those 2 chapters, everyone loved Attack on Titan still, right? But imagine in the span of 2 chapters, it goes from a masterpiece to something that you just outright don't think is good at all. That's how people perceive.
What the fuck happened?
I don't know, because we're in peak Attack on Titan season. I don't know if you want me to spoil, but
Okay.
it's just the characters didn't do what they thought they should do, and they thought it was trash.
I got you. I mean, hey, I guess people are entitled to their own expectations of a series, but man, why can't my hero just have the death penalty?
It's funny. You're just everything you say is reminding me of this debate I literally had like a couple of hours ago. Yeah, I was just going back and forth with one of my friends. They were like, yeah, they should kill Shigaraki, and I was like, no, they shouldn't. They gain nothing from doing it if he can be saved. Like it's a net negative if they kill him.
My logic is killing him makes more logistical sense. Not even like moralistic justice wise, like, oh yeah, he needs to pay for his crimes. I mean like the guy, like his body is just such a danger to be present. Like the decay quirk on its own is already like super like yikes. Then you have the All for One quirk, the original All for One quirk, and all the other shit he's collected since then.
Sure, but you can take quirks away from people now. That's not even like a relevant factor for the most part. You can just steal his quirk.
Bro, then do that, Ozai him, but like how does it? The threat of Shigaraki needs to 100% go away, and like that's really where my concern is coming from, because if they can do like a rewind thing with Eri where she just like undoes Shigaraki's powers, which I wouldn't even mind being the ending, by the way. Like if in the end Deku just like fails to kill or defeat Shigaraki on his own, he goes to Eri and he's like, bro, can you just like make him a monkey or something, and like that's how it ends. I'm sure like I would be fine with that personally. I don't think that'd be a Deus Ex Machina, because like it's not like it come out of nowhere. She's there. Like a lot of people might disagree with that, which I don't really mind. It's just like I think it would be cool. I don't understand the combination. Like the combination of the quirks Deku has right now to me are just so hilariously pathetic in comparison to the one Shigaraki has that I actually like. I don't envision a fight between the two of them insofar as Deku putting up like an honest to god struggle. Like you know what I mean? Like to me, it just feels like something else has to happen, because what's Deku gonna do? Use danger sense and smoke screen on a guy with like super decay power? Like
I just don't think Deku's not running once with Shigaraki. Maybe at one point in the fight he will, but I just the Our Hero Academia shit, the fact that he didn't even 1v1 him the first time. I just like Deku's not so dumb as to literally fight somebody who would give All Might smoke by himself.
Yeah. So you actually wow, rare moment of agreements between us. What's going on today?
I think 1v1 Shigaraki's beating, because Deku's probably faster and stronger, but that doesn't really matter. He can't kill, even if Deku wanted to. I'm not sure you could kill him.
You can't touch him.
Yeah, he'd have to be fast enough to where Shigaraki's hands can't make contact. But he also can't, like, even if Shigaraki just stood there, he would just regen, which is a problem in and of itself.
Yeah. How are they beating Shigaraki is like what I'm most interested to see.
Where the saving comes in. They're going to go into the Vestige world, right? And then he's going to save Shigaraki. Shigaraki's going to reject All for One, and then whatever happens there, I don't really know. It can go in a lot of different ways, but I don't think that Deku is or anybody is going to be able to just straight up like beat Shigaraki like 1v or physically. Maybe in the Vestic world, some random shonen bullshit happens, but I just can't imagine like is there any combination of people that could beat Shigaraki that their forces have? Probably not.
I mean, you'd have to have some kind of fire quirk, just because I feel like that's most effective against a guy like Shigaraki. It's long range, and incinerated cells can't really regenerate. So I'd say like Dabi level flames, which is already kind of hard to reach, but like, oh my god, bro, Todoroki has a better shot of 1v1ing
Todoroki,
a 1v1ing
Todoroki would get
Shigaraki.
bullied before he could even think about using his generic ass ice fire combination.
I'm saying he has a better
Deku's
chance than
definitely
Deku.
putting up way more of a fight again. There is not a single person not named Deku that's putting up a good fight against Shigaraki. Any extent. I mean, I don't even think Deku's necessarily doing that
You know what?
himself.
Okay, then let me revise my statement. Let's say you give Todoroki like 5 more years to like really train the hell out of his quirk, and he gets to like half one side being like borderline, like above Todoroki, above Endeavor level, but like still below Dabi level flame power wise, and then left side, maximum ice or whatever. I think he has a better shot than Deku does now.
No, I don't think so.
Bro, even with a 5-year
I don't think
time
so,
skip,
no.
you serious?
Because what Todoroki here's what I'll say this straight. If Shigaraki just puts his hand on the ground, Todoroki loses. Deku doesn't lose to that strat outright. He can fly.
Yeah, but Todoroki can make
Which will disintegrate.
ice bridges.
Because anything that Shigaraki touches that makes contact with other things will disintegrate as well. That's why he can just touch the ground and like that's why Deku had to bring him into the air in their last fight because after Aizawa like had like closed his eyes or whatever and Shigaraki could actually use decay, Deku had to make sure he brought him somewhere where he couldn't like touch the ground. Shigaraki, because if Shigaraki will just touch the ground, Todoroki will make his like ice shit, but then the ice shit will disintegrate, and Todoroki has nowhere to go. Gravity will work, and then he'll die. Deku can fly, use Black Whip to keep him at distance, and then like I mean, even then, I don't necessarily think that Deku has a very good chance, but he's faster than Todoroki will ever be. He's stronger, and he has like versatility that allows him to directly avoid Shigaraki's like one hit KOs. I don't think Todoroki he's just not well versed to go up against someone like him. Bakugo would have a better chance, I think, because he can fly and he can maintain a distance and do all the things Todoroki can do for the most part, except, not die on the ground.
I want to talk about My Hero Academia's power system for a second here, because I was thinking about this the other day. My Hero Academia system is like so mid that it's like the definition of just like middle of the road. It is not bad. You don't need like a master's degree to understand it. You know what I mean? It's very much like humans with Pokemon.
They have superpowers. Like it's not like I don't even know if I'd necessarily say it is a power system, but they have superpowers. Like that's all it is.
Like it just like fire works the same way, right? Like if you don't have a quirk that like makes you immune to fire in one form or another, you're getting burned by fire. Like there's no like catch there. And I thought about it from a visual standpoint. And do you remember I think it was the anime, I'm not sure if the manga did this, but do you remember in that fight Deku and Bakugo had with All Might during their training? And All Might was just like breaking backs, like massive punches, like all these explosions. I was like looking at this and I was like, I have a feeling that either these kids, like just their base bodies are just so strong, they're able to tank like even like held back hits from All Might like this, but also to the point where like the blasts that Bakugo is creating, they seem so like dramatically catastrophic to everything that's not a human being.
Yeah, like they seem to rip apart buildings and concrete and things like that and all this different stuff, but like why don't they do that to humans? I mean, the simple answer is quirks usually will enhance the person to be like I guess like viable to use it. So for example, like unless you're like a weird case like Dabi, right, and your body is just not able to handle your quirk. But Bakugo has super strength because because his body is built to handle the recoil of his explosions, right? You give me or you those explosion gauntlets with our regular strength, our arms are flying off, right? The fact that Bakugo can do that and
Yeah.
not die and barely even show strain means that he's enhanced. Todoroki, coats himself in fire with no damage, fire resistance, probably durability resistance in general. These characters just have to be
Yeah.
stronger. Or at least some characters. Like Ida has to be more durable and stronger because he's moving at super speeds. All these different things that will not probably force your body to be enhanced in certain capacities.
You know what's weird? This is a podcast where like you and I have just been kind of on the same page consistently. So I don't feel the need to like argue with you as much.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling. We're not arguing and going back and forth.
Yeah, it's only been 20 minutes, and we've managed to stick to at least a semblance of like a normal flow of conversation. Like we haven't done side tangents or like mini debates yet. Like I'm impressed with us, bro. Look at us, we're growing, we're developing as
That
people.
character development, I like it. But what were your thoughts on the chapter overall? Like just like good, bad, mid, whatever.
Just mid. Like the highlight was definitely the interaction with the 1A students. That's it. Yeah, the highlight was the interaction with them. I like that bit about the traitor. Like I wouldn't even mention that because I don't think, not the traitor, but like the spies that All For One has. I don't even feel like bringing that up or like talking about it more in depth because
the plot point didn't matter.
Yeah, like it literally didn't even matter. So there's nothing to mention there. It's not like this random civilians getting access to this super secret like fucking war plan. So it ultimately amounts to nothing.
Yep, that's all it is. I think it's a pretty alright chapter. Nothing great, but it's good, I guess.
Good way to cap it off. It was good, I guess.
But yeah, on
6 out of 10.
I think that's fair. For JJK's chapter, I mean,
yes,
dope. A lot of dope things, I feel like. So that's pretty
solid. Solid 7.5 out of 10 JJK chapter.
I won't argue with you on that. I think that's a fair rating.
Yeah, like it was a lot of exposition. Not to say that that's a bad thing. It was just like Gege does exposition pretty well. He doesn't like harp on it too much, and it was definitely disgusting that he put so much detail into these cockroaches, bro. You know what? 4 out of 10 for this chapter. This like, dude, did you see how like real they looked? I hated that.
In depth, and I think that guy that Yuta tried to save went out in like one of the worst ways we've seen in JJK. Like, I'd say that's on par.
Yeah.
As bad as like Mahito's idol transfiguration. Like it's one of the worst ways you can go. No. Continue. I can hold my point because it's not that big of a deal. Go ahead.
I don't know. Mine wasn't either. But like I don't want to.
I was just basically going to say we get to see a little bit more of Rika. That's it. We see her like break the bridge. We see that like she's still considered strong. But like even like these, I don't know if the woman is like a special grade, but she says that like, oh yeah, the Shikigami is also super powerful. So it's not like it seems. I mean, we can't say she hasn't diminished in strength at all, but it seems that like Rika is still notable in terms of power.
What do you wait? So I have so many thoughts here. So, I'm actually really glad you brought up Rika because that was definitely like the thing I was waiting for a little bit because ever since that fight with Yuji, I've been kind of on the edge of my seat waiting to see how they're going to explain Rika, like the new Rika. And I was like, I saw that it was kind of like an exposition chapter and I was like, oh shit, is this where we're going to find out like what the fuck happened between the events of Zero and like this? And I like, the fact that Yuta, I think it was last chapter, not this one, the narration said that Yuta took 3 months to regain his special grade status makes me think he acquired this new Rika, or like made her, depending on what philosophy you want to go down, in 3 months, which is just crazy, right? Like, cause okay, couple theories, right? Let's go down like theory avenue for a second here. Yuta either created a new Rika through some other means or copying a technique that's able to like create Shikigami or Shinigami. I always forget. Shikigami. I'm going to commit to that. Yeah, Shikigami, based off of like cursed energy amount. And we can get to the amount output thing in a second because I feel like that's where we're headed with this chapter. But it's either he created her like that or he kind of summoned a similar type of like powerful Shikigami in a similar, although pretty substantially different way that Megami is able to summon Maharaga.
Possibly.
Sorry, one last thing. Or I just thought of this right now. You know how Gojo said that like any sorcerer can figure out how to summon basic Shikigami? Like even Yuji, despite him not having a curse technique. Might be that? So what I'm thinking is that this Rika, right, and this might be unlikely, but I'm claiming it as a theory here. This Rika is just a basic Shikigami that just beefed up by his cursed energy?
Definitely possible. It's not like outside the realm of possibility. That'd be kind of crazy, crazy impressive for you to. I'll say. I don't know though. I honestly,
It's kind of
I'm kind of
yeah.
like usually I'm super like Fury gung ho or whatever. With Rika, I just don't
Uh,
have much to say. I don't have really like much theorizing. I just kind of like he'll explain it when he'll explain it. Like usually, obviously, if you've been watching the episodes, and obviously me and you have been discussing JJK for a while now, but I usually have a lot of thoughts. But like for Rika, it's just kind of like we'll see. I just don't have much I feel like to go off of. Anything I do is just like purely speculative. Yeah, it's purely
speculation.
speculative with like
Uh,
from what I've gathered, almost no grounds for any like certain conclusion, which is fine. I don't think every single thing that I don't know about has to be theory worthy, but I think this is just going to be one of those things. I personally kind of just like, damn, I don't know. I nothing's clicked in my head yet, if that makes sense, as to like, oh shit, this could be it. This could be it.
uh,
It's just kind of like,
I get that. So okay, what if not Rika's origin? What was the like big thing for
so
you
there are a
this
couple of
chapter?
things. The main one being Yuta's like kind of like burdens as the strongest now, I guess. Like for one, he's taken it upon himself to essentially acquire every point that his team needs, right? Because he's like, I'll gather 400 points myself, which was pretty wild. And then he's also like, I'll kill
Right.
Kenjaku. I won't let Gojo have to kill his own best friend again.
Kill
Yeah,
his
and I thought
best
that was
friend again. Yeah.
yeah, it was.
I love that line.
I think that's a very that's something I feel like only Yuta could do, and the reason I feel like it's something only Yuta could do is because he's the only one strong enough to have that conviction as of right now. Nobody else could even dream of like bearing the weight.
Killing
Not only just killing
Kenjaku.
Kenjaku, but I think the concept of helping Gojo is something beyond anybody but Yuta or anybody on that level. Yuji's too weak. Megami's too weak. None of them can even conceptualize. They're still their entire plans rely completely on getting Gojo to bail them out. And
Gojo
Yuta's
out.
is
Yeah.
how can I assist him as like a relationship rather than like a child parent type thing, which I think shows his confidence in his
Mm.
power and his awareness of how strong he is. Um, I think I was saying this on Twitter. I don't think Kenjaku would lose to Yuta if they were to fight in a 1v1. Maybe
Oh my God. Are we getting into this? Are we getting into this?
we can, yeah. In a 1v1,
Because
maybe you could say Yuta wins, but Kenjaku would not be killed by Yuta. I don't think.
oh,
Yeah,
okay. So we agree.
we don't. I don't think we. No,
Okay, I thought, yeah, I thought you were firmly in the like Yuta washes
no.
Kenjaku camp.
But I think there's a bit of a difference between Yuta being able to like run up on Kenjaku alone and kill him, versus Yuta being able to kill Kenjaku. Period. I don't think Yuta can kill Kenjaku in like the sense that Kenjaku will have plans, he'll have pawns, he'll probably have curses that he's gathered that he won't necessarily like be directly in front of while he's fighting. I just think that he's going to handle Yuta in a similar way he handled Gojo if they come to blows, trickery, and because I think the statement of Yuta being second to Gojo can be true while he'd still lose to Kenjaku. Because obviously we've seen being the strongest
There's
doesn't
like
mean anything in terms of winning or losing, or not that it doesn't mean anything, but it's not the end all be all.
we have so much to unpack here with this like Yuta Kenjaku thing. So I'll start off with like my thesis and we'll go from there. So my thesis goes something like this. Kenjaku and Yuta as they are right now have just reset the gap of Yuta and Geto in JJK 0. Here's what I mean. The gap between Kenjaku and Yuta now based off of like experience, we'll call it, or like amount of training done, is the same, if not more substantial than the gap that Geto had with Yuta, like with zero cursed energy knowledge and, you know, minimal training that he did in Zero. And keep in mind, I didn't like fully consume Zero, so I'm going off like bits and pieces that were accidentally spoiled for me. So like roughly speaking, I know that like the Night Parade of 100 Demons thing, I believe is the name of
Yeah.
it. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Yuta was what, 3 months into Jujutsu school?
I'm pretty sure he was like when he first encounters Geto. Hold on, I'm pretty sure it's like his first year. I'm pretty sure he's like a year in.
No, I mean like the very end.
Yeah, like
I want to
I'm
like
pretty
I
sure
want to
he's like
scale
a
this
year
like yeah.
in. If I'm remembering, like He's like been a first year for no. Hold on, maybe
No,
I'm tripping. I don't know. No, he
no, because he's a
yeah, no,
second
yeah,
year
he was there
now.
for a couple of months. Yeah, you're right.
That gap is now exponentially much larger with Kenjaku, who has like 8 trillion the amount of experience Geto has, far more like power than Geto ever had. Geto does not hold a candle to Kenjaku. The fact that they're using the same body is basically, I think, where the similarities lie. Like Geto is just like Kenjaku's just like so far above Geto in every single category. Like stats of power, intelligence, speed, like everything, just completely like different level than Geto ever was. Dot dot dot. And despite Yuta's like now year plus training or whatever, and this new Rika and like all this experience he's had, he's still in a worse position because it's Kenjaku.
Yeah.
And to further like to kind of support my case here before like we can get into the refutal, I'm doing full MLA format, fucking high school energy here. Do you remember when Gojo and Kenjaku had that exchange after sealing, and Kenjaku said, I don't know what everybody's like so much in a fuss about with this Yuta Katsu kid. He is not the
Mm-hmm.
next Satoru Gojo. That shows to me that he does not care about Yuta. Because last week, you were talking about, oh, but doesn't he see Sukuna? Like, why didn't he plan for Sukuna? Why is Sukuna still there? Like, if he sealed Gojo, why didn't he seal
Mm-hmm.
Sukuna, etc., etc.? Well, we don't know much about Sukuna, but we can definitely say he made it very clear he does not see Yuta as a threat to his plan in any way, shape, or form. It's not even like in the cards for him to like even consider like the possibility of Yuta even coming close to stopping him or the games. He does not care. He just so firmly does not take Yuta seriously enough. So to me, a guy like Kenjaku is not very boastful and he's not very arrogant, right? Like he's not Jogo, for example, right? Like I take this from Mark as like very much like the frustration on his end that the notion of like people placing all this faith in Yuta is this is my reading of it, by the way, is kind of like, oh, Yuta can definitely scale Kenjaku or stop him. Like, who needs Gojo? It's very much like, I think Gege telling the audience through Kenjaku, like, that's not what's going to happen. Like, Yuta is not the guy.
Possibly. I agree that Yuta will not handle Kenjaku. I don't think he'll be able to kill him. At least not though. Yuta now would not beat Kenjaku now. At least from what we're aware
Mm-hmm.
of. I think I agree with most of the reasoning. Kenjaku's on a different level. He dismisses Yuta pretty handily. All the good stuff. But
Like, he makes it a case to, like, say that before Gojo's, like, fully sealed. Like it's that important to him to, like,
yeah,
get it across.
and people have been arguing, okay, yeah, Yuta's second only to Gojo. That's fine, but where's Gojo, right? Okay, if it could happen
Yeah.
to someone who's undeniably the strongest, it can happen to the second strongest. So, not necessarily with Prison Realm, obviously, but defeating him using wits and stuff like that. The only thing I think is that Kenjaku might be underestimating the growth of not just Yuta but other characters because if you guys remember, Gojo Satoru wasn't Gojo Satoru until he had a near-death experience with Toji, right? Gojo
Mm-hmm.
was just your typical, not maybe your typical, but like your above-average grade one sorcerer, right? He was pretty strong, but he wasn't really shit. Like to put it into perspective, right? Gojo, like Teen Gojo, obviously before he like awakens after his fight with Toji, would lose Jogo, and he would lose to Mahito, like Shibuya Mahito. He would get bodied by Kenjaku. He would lose to a lot of the characters that he doesn't even consider a threat now, right? So, or I'll put it like this: it only takes one moment to develop from somebody who isn't a Gojo level threat to somebody who is.
Gojo level threat might be like pushing it a little. I will like concede on awakening,
Sure, but okay, so
like
I'll put it like this, right?
proportionally.
Teen Gojo has a
Hmm?
low was like weaker than this Yuta, right? We both agree on that pretty easily, right? Okay.
Yes.
So
Like it's not an emphatic
I
yes,
think it's
but
an
yes.
emphatic yes because Gojo wasn't a special grade at the time.
Okay, I know I'm gonna regret asking this, but do you think Yuta could like kill
Yes.
Toji? Oh my god. Okay, bro, we you say some shit like that, and like this is why like we're gonna end up doing fucking 3 JJK episodes in a row. So I'm gonna be the bigger man here. I'm gonna let that slide. Please continue making your
Okay,
point.
okay, okay. But yeah, I think this, right? If you had
Hmm.
Gojo and Yuta run a gauntlet against like Mahito, Jogo, Toji, Gojo would lose all of those fights. Yuta would lose none, right? I'll put it like that.
Wait, wait,
Yeah,
teenage
yeah,
Gojo, right?
teenage
Not
Gojo.
modern Gojo.
So if Yuta
Okay.
awakens, right? If Gojo's awakening brought him to where he is now, I don't know why we wouldn't assume Yuta's like awakening in that sense couldn't bring him beyond that, which is something because right now we only have like two characters kind of opinions clashing because Kenjaku thinks that they can't, Gojo thinks that Yuta, Hikari, and Yuji and Megumi can.
This is actually a jumping off point. Did you see that tweet? I think I forgot who it was. It's like the big JJK account that like pops off with like all these theories and stuff. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna try to remember their name next time. But it was like you can tell who all these who Gojo, Sukuna, and Kenjaku placed their bets
Yeah,
on.
I remember who you're
And
talking
it
about.
was yeah, it was like Sukuna placed his bets on Megumi, Gojo placed his on Yuta, and Kenjaku placed his on Yuji. And I just want to kind of touch on this real quick because I think it's a jumping like it adds to your point. Do you think that Gojo is confident enough in Yuta's ability to the point where he's like he will be able to take on Kenjaku
I
in
mean,
my
one,
place?
he says it during Shibuya, and two, even before this, like even before his life was in danger, he was um, like right now there are characters or there are people poised to surpass me. Um, and when he was thinking about this, three characters come to his mind, right? He thinks of Hikari, he thinks of
Mhm.
Yuta, and he thinks of Yuji, right? We know Megumi is
Okay.
by proxy included because Gojo says that Megumi's potential isn't inferior to his, and then he also says like he implies that if Megumi masters his technique, he could become stronger than him, right? So those four characters, Toto
Hmm.
was kind of out of the running because of his hand or whatever, at least as far as we know, right?
Right.
Yuta, Yuji, and Megumi are kind of like the big three, if you will, of kind of like potential. Um, the ones who have like the most the most writing on them is probably Megami and Yuji because Gojo thinks Megami can surpass him, Gojo thinks Yuji can surpass him, and Sukuna thinks Megami super special, and Kenjaku thinks Yuji super special. But the thing is, I think Gojo
Mhm.
is I mean he has to be well aware of the massive gap that Yuta has between them. So I think that Gojo just thinks that
Right.
Yuta is going to get the strongest the fastest. Meaning, if you need somebody in a pinch to grow dramatically, you probably want to rely on Yuta rather than Yuji or Megami right now, right? Um, they're more infantile
Hmm.
in their growth.
Definitely.
Um, like we've seen that Yuta
Yes.
can go from like falling however far he did from special grade back up to special grade in the span of 3 months a year ago or something, right? So it's not like he hasn't done this before. He hasn't made like entire grade jumps. I just think if you put Yuta in a position where all the cards are against him, right? And he has to evolve or die, and if he survives, he will become someone stronger than Gojo, or at least on that level. And I think that that's kind of the whole point of Gojo in the first place. Like that's what he's trying to do. That's his entire like mission in life. So I think
Hmm.
it'd be a little bit strange if like someone who's been watching and cultivating people specifically to surpass him wasn't aware of their capacity to like supersede him. So to answer the question very shortly, I don't think Yuta can take on Kenjaku now with all of his schemes, all that stuff. But to say that Yuta could never do it, I
Hmm.
think is a bit far fetched. Honestly, I was about to say we know like they're gonna beat Kenjaku, but like honestly, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Do
That
we?
honestly, like I thought they were going to get Gojo at the end of Shibuya. Like when Shibuya started, I was like, oh, they're gonna save him at the end of the arc. It's gonna be all good.
Really?
But they didn't. So I was like, damn, that's kind of crazy. Because I'm used to arcs having a problem, and that problem then being resolved in that
By
arc.
the end of the arc,
Yeah.
this is the curse of watching all these shonen, dude. We've
Like
developed some nasty habits.
for example, can you imagine if like the Chimera Ant arc starts, we go into it, and then by the end of the arc, the Chimera Ants just run free, and like all of our heroes are beaten. Like that'd be so crazy. So
I
I have,
mean that's like that like half happened.
I mean they all died though.
Not all of them. A lot of them survived and just went back to the NGL.
Let me
And
rephrase that. All the ones that
yeah.
were a threat to the world died.
Okay, yes.
Like okay, I'll put it like this:
Oh,
if
oh,
Mario and
actually no. No, no, sorry. What's his name? He survived, and if Hunter x Hunter ever comes back, he's probably gonna be the last villain. Jiro.
But he wasn't. Was he confirmed to be a Chimera? I don't know.
Yeah, because he got eaten by the queen, and he was it was like the whole conversation with Welfin was that he was resurrected, and he's just like out there still. And like keep in mind, this was like the dictator of the NGL before the Chimera Ants, and the whole story was shown. There's it's like a Chekhov's gun thing as I consider it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't really remember Gyro all that much, but I'll take your word for it. I feel like you know what I mean though.
Generally,
Like
I get your point. Yes.
If Meruem survived, like that'd be like such a fucking or if Gon didn't kill P2 at the end of the arc or something.
Oh yeah,
right?
that would have been fucking weird.
It would have been strange, and that's why I assumed. I was like, damn, get the. And then when Kenjaku was running away, not running away, but he's like, this is the golden age, and then he just disappeared. I was like, what? Like that wasn't what I expected. So I was about to say like they're obviously gonna beat Kenjaku in this arc, but I don't even know honestly.
Like I can't even make this like a confident statement about like their survival. Like I can't say Megumi, Yuji, and Yuta are all 100% going to survive the end of this arc.
I definitely can't say that. So I mean, I'll just say this. I think it's implied. But okay, I'll put it like this, right? I think Gojo's statements hold more weight in this context than Kenjaku's. So in terms of potential, I think Gojo is like more right. And it's for it's for multiple reasons. One, he has a more direct relationship with them. He teaches them, he trains them, he's like seen them fight more directly, blah blah blah. And then also, this is more headcanon-y, right? But the Six Eyes' ability to like see like cursed energy flows, things like that, like gaps in strength. Like he's able to tell just by looking at his cursed energy that Yuji's gotten a lot stronger than he was before after like fighting with Todo. I just think that kind of lends to the idea that he's just more aware of people's like limits than most, if anybody, really, or any non-Six Eyes user, if that makes sense.
I get what you mean, but I don't agree. Because, like, if it was just a Six Eyes thing, then I think it's a little... It's too dismissive of people like Kenjaku and Sukuna, who have been around, especially Sukuna, who have been around the block, like, so many times, that they're able to, like, make confident assessments because, A, they've either seen it all before, or B, their awareness and... You know what? No, both of them, actually. They're students of the game, so to speak, right? Like, they're not ignorant of things like measuring potential or... danger levels.
I mean, I'll say this. I'm not saying they're naive to it. What I will say is Gojo has more inverse like proof and like reasoning for him to be better at it. Sukuna has some to a lesser degree than Gojo, but Kenjaku has almost like none in terms of reading somebody's potential. Like, not to say he doesn't have any, but he hasn't shown any. There, I'll put it like that. I'm not saying he's even like dumber than Gojo or Sukuna. I just think Gojo's technique lends quite literally to being able to see what somebody's capable of, right? Sukuna has shown that he can spot out potential just by technique, like with Megumi, right? But Kenjaku just hasn't shown that level of awareness yet, right? Maybe if he proves to be correct and Yuta fails to reach Gojo's level, then he'll have that feat. But I just think that like Gojo obviously was able to tell. He's able to like be like, yeah, Yuji, you're gonna be super strong. Megumi's gonna be super strong. All this different stuff, and he has the Six Eyes, right? You can have seen Megumi was gonna be super strong. He called it very early on. Kenjaku just doesn't have either of those things yet, so it's not impossible. It's just not substantiated. I think is where I'm at right now.
I gotcha. Okay, I think I understand. I guess we're gonna have to wait until Kenjaku comes like back on screen or Yuta washes everybody. Unfortunately, for both of us, JJK is on break next week, so we're gonna have to wait longer to see. It just breaks my heart. It's a shame.
Yeah,
dude.
but usually the upside to it is usually when he takes a break before dropping a fighting chapter. That fighting chapter is excellent. So I'm gonna just look at it as it's a necessary evil in order to get a great Yuta chapter again.
Hell yes. Yeah, I'm proud of us. We managed to talk about My Hero and JJK for like a solid 48 minutes as of this recording, and not get totally
Yeah.
into the weeds with like power scaling and
Yeah.
debates. I'm proud of
Luckily,
us.
we agreed on most of the things.
Yeah, like I was surprised it happened with My Hero Academia. I'm definitely surprised it happened with
Yeah.
JJK.
But yeah, I think we're good.
Because,
What
bro, I'll admit sometimes you have takes that just like they make me look
are
up
too
like,
stunning. Yeah, too much for your brain to handle. I
nah, bro, they got me looking up flights to Texas.
Oh,
Like
to
like,
praise me for my intelligence. I got you.
oh yeah. So final scores for the arc, arc. My God, I wish. So yeah. So
I'd say
final
like an
scores for the
8. I
chapter.
think 8, maybe 8.5. I don't know. I like it. I think the expectation is pretty cool. I
It's
really like that page with I won't let Sensei kill his best friend again. That was honestly probably one of my favorite lines from Yuta. Like even including Volume 0.
I still stick by my 7.5 just because, like I said, very exposition-y chapter. But I did learn one new thing, though, and that was the whole cursed energy
Oh,
output, cursed energy, like,
yeah.
reserve thing, which I just
Mhm.
remembered we didn't really touch on. So,
Yeah,
do you
we
want
can
to just
talk about that
quickly,
because
like,
it's
talk
an
about that for,
interesting
like, a couple
concept.
minutes?
So
Yeah. Yeah.
sure.
You
So
want to go first?
I honestly think like it's not something I really thought about, but it makes complete sense that like output and reserves aren't correlative at all. Because the way I think of it is akin to like a faucet, right? Just because you turn on a faucet does not mean it's
Hmm.
going to explode with all of the water that you have access to, right? It streams out. That's what I think the output is. In terms of reserves, Yuta just has an infinite amount of water, whereas this other guy, the punk looking guy, can like output. Honestly, don't like I don't know how his technique is gonna work or his abilities are gonna work. If I'm gonna be honest, but I feel like the fact that he called Yuta's
Hmm.
output unimpressive essentially is kind of crazy.
Oof.
He was like his output is I can't remember the exact wording, but he's like his output is nothing crazy, but it's those reserves. And I was like, damn, you're looking at Yuta like swinging his sword and obliterating these like cursed cockroaches, and you're just like, damn. You can see like he's on a building, seeing it from a large distance away, and he's just like, damn, not crazy. He just has a lot of cursed energy in reserves.
It's also an interesting concept because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, your assumption was the same as mine, where we both thought the faucet was just a
Yeah,
non-factor, right? Like the side, like you can just release however much of it you want at any given
yeah.
moment. Like you, because
I
why
look at
wouldn't
it
you
as
be
more of
able
like a
to, right?
bucket. Like you can decide to pour it all out at once or not, right?
Yeah. Yes, yes, same thing basically. So it was really surprising that Gege was like, no, no, there is like a faucet, there is like a water pressure valve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah, and that's
So
why that's
yeah.
very interesting. And I think I feel like that adds quite a bit of depth to the power, like even more so because it's another factor that you have to consider in a fight. Like I honestly think this is why curse techniques are so important because they're a vessel to launch your cursed energy in probably bigger masses than you can yourself. So like for example, if Megami took all the cursed energy he used to like summon Divine Dog, but instead just shot it out in a blast, the blast would never be as potent as Divine Dog is himself. I think that kind of
Uh
recontextualizes curse techniques as like they're a necessity because of the efficiency of them, which is something we knew, but I think seeing it in a different aspect is just interesting to see. I think it's kind of helpful.
Yeah, me too. And I can't wait to see how it's explored, especially with, the guy who boasts the most amount of
Hmm.
output than anybody. Okay, it's not said, but I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of
Hmm.
plant my feet here, whatever, like me being wrong, be damned, right? There is no fucking way he has more cursed energy
He
reserves than
doesn't.
Yuta.
He
No
wouldn't be
way.
impressed by it
Absolutely
if he
none.
would. I
Yeah.
agree. I just think it's going to be he.
Like I think he gasses out like
I think
way
yeah.
faster because if his cursed energy amount is like output is higher than Yuta's, then and he has less of it to spare,
He's
then
pro. Mhm.
5 shots or something, like a very low number, before he's just completely wiped out. Like all Yuta has to do is just
Yeah.
dodge and wait
He's
for
just
him to just
probably
run out.
not the type to be in a fight that lasts longer than a couple of minutes. Like I would look at it like this, right? Yuta could one shot Yuji, right? That's what Yuji basically says, right? He's like, dude, you hit me with your sword, I'm
Okay.
dead, right? So if Yuta's curse
Right.
energy
Huh?
output it pales in comparison to this guy's, at least any like special grade curses that are of the low to mid levels are getting one shot. Most sorcerers in existence are getting one shot, right? So it's not like he has to even have good stamina. what if like they were both to output their most amount of like cursed energy. If this guy were to win, he's one-shotting every grade 1 sorcerer I think we've been introduced to. And then he's also one-shotting a lot of cursed spirits. So I think kind of if the sort of like the drawback to his ability is low stamina, it makes a lot of sense because realistically there shouldn't be very many people who could survive any of his attacks.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. This it's weird. I know. I'm
I was
just as
said okay.
surprised as you.
So here's one thing before we close out officially. I my kind of predictions for this is I think we're going to be kind of go like Yuta's fights because I'm guessing he's going to go person to person. He's trying to rack up 400 points, right? I can't imagine he's not going to try to
Right.
kill all of like the bigger threats in the barrier, right? So assuming he's going to do that,
Okay.
I think these are all going to show different aspects of his strength. I would hope. I don't want to say I hope so. But I think that we're gonna go over different aspects of like what makes Yuta so strong. I think that would make quite a bit of sense in order to not get repetitive, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to figure out what's going to be here. That blade, also that cockroach curse had, kind of concerning.
God, I really hope the fight with the cockroach isn't drawn out too much. I just don't. I don't have the stomach to like see it on
Yeah,
screen, dude. Cockroaches are
Gig is gonna be giving
nasty.
us like the same way he did with Megami and Reggie's like weight fight where he gives us like a scientific lesson. He's gonna be like, yeah, cockroaches are this. He's gonna give us like a 5-page breakdown on why cockroaches are
Bro,
super strong.
if he says the phrase cockroach eggs, I'm stopping JJK right there. I'm done. It's over. It's like
But I
pack
don't
it
know,
up.
that blade where life and death cross paths, that sounded kind of menacing.
I hope what ends up happening is that with the remaining three of these guys, it's like one chapter per guy, so this thing doesn't like last the next
Yeah.
6 months.
Mm, I could see that. I'm thinking probably a minimum of 2 chapters. At least for like maybe 3 for the bigger ones, I can imagine. Like I think the punk guy is probably gonna get a lot of chapters. I don't know. He just seems like he'd be the type to be focused on, but we'll see.
Because my theory for when the Culling games proper is going to begin, and I mean that more in the abstract, like the JJK lore the JJK main story continues to progress way, not in like a lore building way, which is kind of where we're at right now. Um, is probably going to be another 3 months, because we still have all of Yuta's fights, and if we're being conservative, sorry, if we're being super conservative, and say that it's one chapter per like enemy for Yuta, that's 3 more chapters here, and then there's Hakari and Panda's chapters. I mean, Hakari definitely has to. Panda, I'm like 50-50 on, and then we have to like get to uh, Angel and
Mhm.
Megumi. Follow
Maki,
that up.
where is she at? Um, cause
Yeah, Maki. Like, there's a lot to get through before we get to
one
like
thing,
Kenjaku.
did you notice that Yuta's fight here is taking place earlier, than Megumi and Yuji's did?
No, what?
So
How do you
if we
know?
look at the time, let me go back. I think it might be the previous chapter. Basically, when Yuta like pops up on the scene, like okay, so we know that Yuta when he killed that Shikigami guy, it was right before this chapter. Like chronologically, they happened back to back. Um, like there wasn't much passage of time, and the reason we know this is because right after Yuta does it, right, they're underneath the bridge, and then everybody's like, Mister Okkotsu, like, can can we come out now or whatever? And then the cockroaches attack. Let's see. Someone on Twitter made a nice, pretty
Hmm.
a pretty like succinct timeline. I'll show it to you in a second, but basically it's just like chronologically they're not taking place in order, which is something Gege's been consistently doing
Mm.
because Maki's slaughter took place way before like it actually yeah
Yeah, like
before it
days before.
actually did, which was a pretty interesting choice. But I honestly think maybe do you think that that's possible that could like be the rationalization as to why Angel's in Colony One when she shouldn't be? Like maybe you to put him in one of the rules as you can freely cross colonies, and that's why she's over there. I don't know. That's a lot of speculation to be had.
I don't. He's not a Because even if he kills the remaining 3 people, he's not going to be
Yeah,
at 100 points yet, unless they give their points
which
to him.
they
Which,
couldn't do if this is out of order. Um, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we'll see
So I
for
guess
sure.
we'll see.
Anyways, good chapter. Liked it. Like you too.
Uh, yeah. So lastly, the main topic for today's episode, I want to talk about this like Anitube copyright thing for a while, because obviously, like, if we're both in danger of our entire channels being deleted, it's not something that I think either of us really are able to ignore and should ignore. If you guys don't already know, what essentially happened was there was this YouTuber named Swede. I think that's his name, right?
Yeah,
VR Swede.
yeah,
He made this video basically saying that like Japanese animation companies, they're going to war. It's like a totally not marked situation, but like for the entire community, they can get past YouTube's copyright system and just do like straight lawsuits for takedowns, and they could essentially just overnight, not even overnight, just like over afternoon, just like wipe an entire channel out of existence and like press charges.
yeah.
And it's basically got the entire Annie community on blast a little bit. And a lot of people have made videos really like getting into the weeds with like their takes on this whole thing. And sorry,
Nah,
it's just
you're good.
it's hard to believe that. Yeah, it's hard to believe that all this is happening, because for so long the Annie 2 community was able to like grow. And just between us, like, there are people who upload like entire episodes or entire like movies owned by these companies, and like they don't do shit. But like when it comes to Anitubers, they have like a specific hate boner for them, and I just don't understand why. So that's like really infuriating to me personally.
Yeah, I completely
But
understand. It's very strange that they don't. Yeah, I mean, I assume that maybe it's like a popularity thing. There's probably just less people like ripping and re-uploading anime content onto YouTube specifically than there are like actual Anitubers. Um, and yeah,
yeah, which seems like a more
yeah,
pressing problem. So anyway, like basically we're just gonna go over what this means for both of our channels, like how we're gonna adapt, and where, like, basically like our take
yeah.
on the whole thing.
So do you wanna go?
So I just want to start off by saying one thing. I do think that like we should all be kind of pointing the finger at YouTube almost as much as these companies, because if they just allowed YouTubers, individual YouTubers, to geo restrict their own videos, it would make things so much easier. The biggest positive outcome of YouTube just adding this one feature is the collapse of MCNs. Oh my god, dude, I hate MCNs with every fiber of my being. I hate that they exist. I hate that they're allowed to have this geolock system, so you have to sign on, and you don't even you're not even guaranteed to sign on. You have to apply to sign on for somebody to take away 10 to 20% additional income on top of YouTube's cut and then taxes. It is the most bizarre fucking business. I hate every MCN.
Very impassioned speech. I don't know if I necessarily share the same like vitriolic hatred for MCNs, but I do share hatred for losing money. So I definitely am not pro MCN in that sense. One thing I far be it from me to cape for YouTube, because I think this is something that YouTube should have to deal with in some capacity. But I do think that the reason geo-blocking can't be so easily prevalent, or at least it's something that has to be a little bit more thought put into, is because imagine people are able to geo-block, and then people in the West are able to completely re-upload anime episodes, entire seasons, without worrying about getting struck by copyright and things like that, which could kind of be a piracy issue. The thing you could say to counter that is that these Japanese media companies could still view it. Obviously, there's things like, yeah, there's
Like
VPNs, obviously,
VPNs.
and then there's also like Western versions of these companies, right? Toei obviously has like, or Toei,
Mm-hmm.
Funimation, not Funimation, but Toei and all these other Japanese companies do have like overseas operations, but that would just mean they have to deal with the copyright laws in the actual country or area of the world in which we actually don't have like archaic caveman-esque like fair use and copyright laws, which I think is something to be more beneficial.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just kind of like I mean, Anitube was never like the most stable thing. Copyright strikes and things of that nature were always something that you had to worry about. I mean, I've personally had one of my channels deleted. Well, I've had Broken Ronin deleted before. Like back, I think, I don't know, it was about a year ago. I was at like 1K, making pretty good progress. Woke up one night, no channel, and I was like, damn, no way to get it back, huh? So I just, this is a technically a version 2 of that. So I know firsthand like how scary this can be, but to know that like you can't even refute it by counterclaiming is something that is, pretty nerve wracking. It's not something that like, I'm shivering and shaking in my boots or anything. But like it is something that you think of in the back of your mind, like is all this work that I'm doing for no reason, right? Can this all be taken down in the course of, hours, not even days or weeks or anything like that? Like literal hours, can all of my work be just taken down and I get a fine for it?
Yeah, like that's I think the part that like really grates on me. They just circumvent all of YouTube's checks and balances system, and they go straight for fucking slap suits essentially. And worse than all of this is that it has like people reevaluating their entire lives basically, because when you get like further up the Anitube ladder in terms of subscriber numbers, people like Mark, for example, like he's built, his business, he has employees, he has like his own family to take care of. So something like a power like this literally just destroys these people's lives in like one
Exactly.
fell
Like
swoop.
I'm personally lucky enough to not, right now at least, make my like I make all my money off of YouTube, but I don't make a living off of YouTube in the sense that like I'm still dependent on others, right? But like I can only imagine how
Uh-huh.
nerve wracking it would be to be like, yeah, I live or die off of like my YouTube content. Yeah, exactly.
AdSense.
Um,
God.
or just YouTube in general. But like if my channel is taken down, so is my ability to eat, right? Like
Yeah.
I got it. That can't be a good feeling, and it just has a lot of people like are reevaluating like their approach to it. And for a lot of people, even if it isn't like a living thing, like this is something we're all passionate about, right? Like working on videos for hours on end consistently, I just don't think is something you could do if you didn't enjoy the work. And for that to be possibly ripped away
Mm-hmm.
is kind of crazy.
And like let's just get straight into it, right? Like when it comes to us specifically and how we are gonna approach this being like if we're erring on the side of this is definitely happening at some point, there's gonna be like an Anitube apocalypse
Hmm.
and it's like looming, then we're faced with a couple options. And like I'll start with myself because I have less videos in my library as of right now, and like the tier lists are fine. Face cam videos like the Bleach one are kind of hit or miss because like I do interlay some footage, but I could just as easily go back and remove it, and it won't be a big deal if it's like really really
Hmm.
necessary. However, when it comes to things like my Gon video or like my JJK videos or my Hero Academia videos, those are things that I will honestly just have to get rid
Hmm.
of, right? And moving forward, I'd have to like be almost exclusively face cam or find some other workaround. And for me, that's not as much of a problem because I'm sort of used to face cam in one way or another. But, for you, I'm curious what the
Well, I
effect
mean, the
is.
first thing is if they're like targeting your channel's getting taken down. It's not just a video thing. So, like for example, they went to my channel and they're like, "All right, we got a couple of videos. We're gonna send you like a little strike. YouTube's gonna take down your channel, right, until further notice or anything like that." I don't even have the chance to be
Hmm.
like, "Damn, can I just like delete or private the videos and continue uploading new content?" So it's 31,000 subscribers, at least at the time of recording this, down the drain. So I'd have to
Hmm.
restart again. Not really looking forward to like a fourth restart personally. Maybe a third, but
Hmm.
I mean, my content, like in general, I've just never really recorded face cam, so like that would be something completely new if I was bent on doing YouTube. But my kind of alternative, I don't know if alternative is necessarily the word because I'd be doing it alongside if possible, but the plan would be to supplement YouTube with a Patreon because I think that just bypasses a lot of the inherent issues that YouTube has. Um, I think that like even without the geo-locking feature for Patreon, Toy Animation isn't gonna like subscribe to my Patreon to watch my videos or anything like that, right? Like, it's I don't think it's ever gonna come to that. And in the like horrible scenario in which my channel is deleted, there is still a place where people would be able to find me where I'm uploading content consistently and things like that. So um, that's kind of my plan. I hope to launch it um, like mid late February, early March area. Um, as kind of like a right now supplementary thing, but kind of backup plan. Like I kind of want it. I want to treat it as a sort of second channel. I upload content on there, probably not as frequently as I do on my main channel, um, but still upload videos
Wait,
nonetheless. What's up?
are you talking about like Anime
No,
X,
I
or do
mean
you have a
Patreon.
different
Patreon.
channel?
I mean to treat
Oh,
Patreon as
okay.
if it's my second channel, essentially.
Uh,
Upload content on there regularly. Um, things of that nature, basically. And that's kind of my approach to it. Just because of like, I just can't. You can't be so like sure that YouTube is the place that I mean, YouTube has never been the place that's like super duper secure, right? But now more than ever for like Anitubers, it's kind of wild. And also something I've seen is kind of like people like on Twitter especially being like glad that this is happening or something for like Anitubers, or like, yeah, Anitubers suck. I'm so happy that this could happen. It's just kind of like a weird reception. I'm more thrown out. Like, I don't really care. These are just some random losers on Twitter, right? But it is kind of like strange to see that.
People
Yeah,
are haters.
that's
Like
fair. People are indeed haters. I guess it's just like, I guess strange to see somebody hate on like other people's livelihood. Like, outside of just disagreeing or maybe even thinking the person's dumb, like to wish on somebody whose only quote unquote crime is to like, if their only crime is to have anime takes that you just don't like. I don't know, to wish them
yeah.
like the inability to take care of themselves is just such an insane thing.
And it's very fucked up because these people unironically love that
Hmm.
kind of content. It's just like they don't like it when it's against like their
Exactly.
preference.
They like people agreeing with them. They like people sort of acting kind of like sheep, if you will. It's no fun. It's no fun if like the people have actual opinions for themselves, you know?
I tried the Patreon thing a while back. It just didn't work out for me. Because I couldn't keep up with the amount of work that it took to
Hmm.
like deliver. Like I could barely deliver on my actual like main videos. But for
Hmm.
Patreon, I think I just like couldn't possibly make twice the amount of
Yeah.
videos. Like I would definitely need my YouTube channel to pop off a little bit more to like be able to justify a Patreon where I'm like, okay, I have the video making pipeline so down, I can afford to make additional like extra videos for
Yeah.
Patreon people.
And I don't necessarily even have my pipeline down like that. I can just guarantee that for a little bit of time, like right now, knock on wood, I've been in a little bit of like a flow state
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to videos. Like, editing is something I like. I'm completely, it's just part of the process. I work and it's not like this super encumbering process. Um, I feel like I'm improving with my editing, things like that. So, and I'm also like, if I were to pull up my spreadsheet, I'm like a month ahead of schedule, so I could spend a couple of days out of the week um, working on a Patreon video here or there, because I'm imagining I probably put out like two, maybe three a month, like higher tiers, things like that. Um, and not everybody has to
Mm-hmm.
subscribe to that in order for it to even be viable. Even if the low tiers, like for like a kind of a tip thing to show appreciation, or just like all of that would just go to me being able to make content quicker anyways. It'd just be kind of like a I don't know. I feel like the Patreon would very quickly start to pay for itself.
I see. No, I see what you mean. I guess it's really about how
Yeah.
committed you are to it. Because if you're like approaching it like this is the thing, I'm gonna become a
Hmm.
Patreoner, right? And then like YouTube is the
Yeah.
side hustle, kind of like what H Bomber guy does. Then I think it's definitely like the way to go. Overall, I'm not exactly thrilled about the circumstances.
Yeah.
Obviously, right? I think at some point, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to figure out a way to do the same thing with my videos. I just need to make more
Yeah.
of them. That's a good goal for me to focus on right now. Just make
Hmm.
more videos and go from
Yeah.
there.
That's always a good idea. Make more videos. Yeah, I was about to go on a side tangent. I don't know why, just about YouTube, but like, I don't know. It's just kind of like out of left field.
Go off, bro. This is the Honored Ones podcast. We can do
True,
whatever
true,
the hell we
true.
want.
So let me ask you a question first. Do you think your videos have a like winning formula, if that makes sense? Does that make sense? Or do you need me to like elaborate a bit more? Okay, okay. So
Elaborate,
like,
yeah.
is there like a if I do this, then I get good result kind of like thing that's kind of clicked for you a little bit? Or a pattern with your videos?
Tier lists? Yeah, you know, I'm gonna
Yeah.
stick with tier lists, like
Okay,
confidently.
that's fair. Recently, like I don't. Sometimes I just like realize things that are super simple, but like for the past week, I just thought like, hey, stupid, why don't you start like modeling your videos after your what's the word I'm looking for? Like your success equation and other people in your niche's success equation, if that makes sense. So like
It seems like
very simple,
duh.
right? Duh. But like it's just like something I didn't really consciously think. I kind of just made videos I thought would do well, but I didn't have a reason for thinking they would do well. They were just kind of like blind hope or faith, I guess.
I'm curious why, because you know, you've had more videos pop off than I am, right? So your frame of reference should technically be higher.
Yeah, for sure. It's just me being a dumbass. So there's no real like justification. It's just I just didn't put together that like there's a commonality in the title format, thumbnail format, and then timing and then topic. Are those all T's? I don't know.
Oh my god, yeah, that's funny.
Anyways, right? Those four things are what decides like a video doing all right for me so far, right? So I was just like, wait a minute, what if I just made every video, right, and just plug in the right formula? Like I don't even bother thinking of a video or making a video that doesn't conform to what will work. I don't know if that.
Again, this
I felt
seems
super smart. I
like,
felt
are you
super
like,
smart
bro?
when I did
Are you
that.
fucking with me right now?
No, I felt
like,
super.
Like, are you
And I've been doing better ever since I started like kind of consciously thinking about it. But I felt super smart when I said like obviously it's obvious. Obviously it's I don't know whatever. It's obvious, right?
No,
But like
okay.
okay, let me put it like this, right? Doing what works is something that I've attempted to do, but I guess it's the
Right.
meticulousness. No, it is the depth in which I'm looking at what I did right. If that makes sense. So like for example, I know JJK videos work. So no shit, I make JJK videos a lot, right?
Okay.
That's something anybody, with a functioning brain could do. But like realizing specific phrases that I use that will consistently work, or title length, like character lengths, or thumbnail colors, like framing of a thumbnail, timing of the day,
This is the
things like that.
bro. Are you fucking with me right now?
Do you go over that every time you make a video?
Yes. Like I thought
So
everybody
like
did.
when you're like, damn, this video, this color worked. I now will make thumbnails with this color from now on.
Yeah, it sounds like the ideal Anituber is somewhere like your work ethic with like my insanity.
Sensei's work ethic. That's a better one, but I think that's fair.
Nah, well, okay. Like Sensei's work ethic has like additional people, so I'm going by individuality.
Sure.
Like the second you get like the Broken Ronin like incorporated group, obviously after you hire me, you're gonna have to hire other people.
Of course. The corporation won't work otherwise.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was just something that just kind of like clicked. I was just like, holy shit, dude. Like, I don't know. These smaller details that you deemed irrelevant before are not irrelevant, dumbass. Like, think, and that's all. I guess what I wanted to say in this segment is I learned to use my brain, and I'm pretty proud.
This is the funniest shit, dude.
You're minimizing my brain power right now, and I don't appreciate it.
Bro, I love revelations like those because they always make you feel like the biggest idiot and simultaneously the biggest genius on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh my god, it was so simple and nobody's figured it out yet. I'm literally like a god.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, by the way, just for my own sanity and mental health, I am the first one to discover this. Nobody else did it before me, and no one else realized that they should copy their success. So yeah.
What's even funnier is you've given me that advice before, like 3 months ago, when I was like, oh hey, what do you think I should be doing? And literally you were like, oh, just copy your successes.
It's different. It's the same concept, but it's different. It's a little bit different. It's
I know exactly what you mean, but like the best way to translate it to another person is like, first time you think of this, It's obvious. The second time you think about this, it's like, oh my god, I need to copy everything.
Yeah, basically.
Because the first time is like, oh yeah, I just need to copy the title or like the thumbnail. When in actuality, you're like, okay, I have to copy the way I structured the metadata, the way I structured the description, the length of the title, punctuation to use, and where. Have you ever spent 20 minutes figuring out if you should use a period at the end of your video titles or not? Like, that's the kind of shit.
I think my record so far is like 50 thumbnails for that can't be true. It's got to be a little bit more than that. But for example, like minute like literal changes of the centering slightly type stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's just like, I guess I've always had that obsessiveness. I just never kicked my brain into overdrive, if you will. Never actually got it to work properly. But also it's funny that I say this because like I've been right now looking forward to being the most experimental with things. Like, and not experimental, like, there's still successes. They're just not my successes I'm experimenting with. Like, I'm using other people. I'm being a leech, if that makes sense. So,
yeah, that sounds like a broken Ronin thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when in doubt, steal. I am endorsing the intellectual stealing of somebody else's work.
Japanese companies are definitely coming for all of us now, bro. That was a declaration of war.
Yeah, I am here for stealing, but I definitely do think stealing from successful people is the move. But like in context, I'm pretty sure people will know what I mean. Hopefully.
Who are you directly like inspired from now? I'll be charitable.
Sure. Let's see. So Ohara's one. I'm trying to steal like titles from him.
Bro, if you can listen, man, I want you to know I almost broke my desk in half when you said Ohara because I've been on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
I want the magic this man has with his titles because when I read his titles, I'm like, no sane person would ever think to title their video this way. It's just not a thing you do. And I've figured out how to phrase the kind of titles he has. I don't know if this part's going to be cut or not. Again, his titles are the thoughts you have, but as a title.
Yes.
But like it's phrased like an internal thought.
It's intrusive thought. Yeah.
So the best One Piece theory you'll ever watch, I guess, is literally like a thought you have to yourself. Like it's your own internal monologue or dialogue. Sorry.
I think
like when I figured that out, I'm like, oh my god, I didn't know I could do this. I thought like you had to title it like a fucking normal.
Yeah, I think one thing I've kind of switched my mind into is stop titling things for like search engine results because I've started.
They're not gonna get you the same.
Yeah. I started titling more for like a psychological impact. Like, what do I want people to think when they see this, rather than like trying to cram in a bunch of search terms and things like that into my titles.
I'm really glad you brought up the whole titling for search thing because I think it's fair to say once you kind of admit as like a YouTuber that you want like the big fucking views, you want like that 1 out of 10 when you upload, right? And there's no way to get that with SEO. I hate to say it, you get that by clickbaiting. Like you just do.
I've said this a lot. Clickbaiting is dope. Clickbaiting is what you're supposed to do. If you're a YouTuber and you're not clickbaiting, you're not doing your job correctly. And I know like audiences have like an issue like, oh my god, clickbait. Like, dude, listen, if you don't like clickbait, right? If you simply were so against clickbait like you say you are, we wouldn't do it. I don't think that's what you don't get. Like, clickbait only is perpetuated in YouTube society because you viewers, I was about to say a little bit less of a choice word, you viewers watch and click those videos, right? If I titled a video, I don't know, like the potential video, if I said like Megami Fushiguro has a good amount of potential, like who the fuck clicks on that versus like saying his potential is unrivaled, right?
Unrivaled, yeah.
Is that a little bit exaggeratory? Sure, but
it doesn't matter, dude.
But it not only does it not matter, but I feel like when your clickbait is something it is just your exaggerations.
Yeah, like who the fuck am I like impressing? You?
Yeah.
Like you're not going to click the video to complain about it to me if you don't it's such an annoying like little thing because they don't realize the fact that they're getting on their soapbox complaining to you about it in your comments or like on Twitter or whatever. They don't realize that like you wouldn't be engaging in this way if the video wasn't like that, right? So like not engagement is worse than you being mad that the title isn't literal because I like my take, you would never click on your ideal title as a YouTube viewer.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing. Everybody, and that's a perfect example, right? Everybody exaggerates and uses hyperbole, right? If you've ever said the words no one or everyone without personally knowing each and every individual person, you have used hyperbole, right? We just use hyperbole in our speech. So why is it so weird when a YouTuber puts that in the title, right? Now, someone outright lying right? Or something that has nothing to do with the video, sure, get mad, get pissy, whatever, right? But when somebody's like I remember a while back, people were getting on Sufferance for doing some like
Oh, dude, I
clickbait
was
stuff.
gonna say the same thing.
And I was like
I
it was so weird because I was like, you guys are such
Yeah.
fucking like you guys are such losers, dude. Like
Yeah.
it was like the video title was so it was like they said Kaiju number 8 will be canceled, and someone was like nobody
Yeah.
said that, and to prove a point, right? To prove,
Yeah, I saw your screenshot.
I was like nobody, and they're like, bro, that's barely anybody. It's like you don't get my point. I'm using the fact that how are you going to be hyperbolic in your criticism of a hyperbolic title?
I got so mad when I saw Sufferance apologize. I'm like, no, dude, you have nothing to apologize for. Half of these people, A, didn't watch your videos, and B, the other half did watch your videos.
Yeah.
Either way, like, their complaint is more or less invalid.
Yeah, I think that, like, and that's, Sufferance just comes off, like, I don't know him personally, so on no, like, parasocial shit, I'm gonna pretend I know him, but, like, he just comes off as a very, like, overtly nice person, so I feel like that's kind of in character, but, like, I definitely... because you know my debate caveman win whatever gur mind is like, okay, I used hyperbole in a title, or Sufferance used hyperbole in a title. You use hyperbole in your criticism of him. Do you see the issue here? Like, no one said it was going to be canceled. Like, shut your dumb ass up, dude. Like, I don't know. It just gets me frustrated because it's like, you don't have to be a YouTuber to make these criticisms. Just use your fucking brain. Like, just think. Just think for a second. Nobody would click on boring, purely objectively informative titles. Nobody cares about those. Unless you're like doing something like how to do something, those don't work.
Literally. And I would kill to see somebody like grow a channel with like super literal, objectively like stale videos saying exactly what the video is going to be about.
There's something I've noticed that there's like this psychological simplicity to it. Like, for example, Ohara's video of like Fushiguro isn't Sasuke. Like,
yes,
no shit. But I don't know why that stands out to me as a specific title, because I'm like...
Because it preys on like an assumption people have kind of going in, because more people have seen Naruto and those people are already kind of into anime and manga. So theoretically, their jumping off point is like they see like Ohara's assumption is that they see Naruto beforehand. They're going to see Sasuke in a Megami, and they're making like comparisons in their head, and so he's just like stopping it right there, and he's like, no, he's not. Yeah. So he's already like assuming you've thought this like 5-layer thing through, and I hate that Ohara is like playing 60 chess with these titles, and I would literally like do a fucking Zoro bow and ask him to train me if I could.
But yeah, for like titles like that, right? If he just said, hey, Ekami isn't generic, maybe even that would work, honestly, because it assumes that you think he is generic. But like a real straightforward, you know, hey guys, I think that you guys are kind of underestimating Megami's uniqueness within the world. Like, dude, what do you want us to give you? We're trying to, like, our job as YouTubers, right? With the title and thumbnail, is to get you to click our video. Yeah. It attracted your attention to the point where you're making tweets about it. Holy shit, well, we did our job right. Like, what do you... I don't know.
Yeah. And, you know, I like to think about it a step further, and let's just say a YouTuber, like YouTube videos aren't like closer to like articles online, but they're closer to like works of art, right? Just for the sake of this example, right? You wouldn't get mad at like Bleach for being called Bleach, even though like there's no Clorox around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
where's the cleaning supplies? I thought there was gonna be a manga about laundry. Like, dude, shut up. Like, you're being so dramatic over nothing. Like, imagine if people were like, where's the One Piece? Like, the One Piece hasn't showed up yet, right? Therefore, this is clickbait. Like, dude, you're just so dramatic.
It's it's the meme, right? It's the fucking isekai meme. Like, I get sent to hell and become a femboy. Like,
exactly. People make fun of those titles because they're super dumb and they don't get to the point. Like, one time I got hit by a bus, then I broke my leg and fell down the stairs. Like, dude, what? Yeah. It's just and imagine it being a book, right? What if the book was a short biography, like a short description of the book, right? Like a mini essay. Nobody's picking up that shit, dude. Nobody cares. You have to get people that don't care about you or your content to care in seconds.
Dude, even better example. Do you know the way like animation studios title their episodes that give away the entire plot of the episode?
Exactly. Like, episode 45, Luffy dies of cancer.
Dies.
Yeah, it's like
Like,
what are we
literally,
doing?
yeah.
And the reason is because for new viewers, they are trying to get somebody who doesn't care about their content to be just intrigued enough to check it out, right?
And it's like, you might as well give timestamps in the video while you're at it. These people are like such a vocal minority, because I don't think, like, if you're a stable person, you care about this shit.
Yeah, I just think it comes from a place of ignorance, and this isn't one of those arguments where it's like, don't criticize me unless you have my job. No, that's stupid, right? But the
Yeah.
argument is don't criticize. Not even don't criticize, right? You can criticize. You're just dumb, and I'm just gonna call you out for being a dummy, right? And now here's the thing: if you just didn't understand this before, you're just like, sure, I can get it. I can. And you're not necessarily like stupid for not
you know
getting it, but you are stupid for like levying these like weird accusations, especially when you yourself are a person who acts in the same way, right? Humans make hyperbolic statements, right? Humans make generalizations. Both of these things go into titles. Both of these things go into thumbnails, right? Like, you just gotta understand, it's kind of the name of the game.
Dude, even further, I'll say, like, levy this criticism at YouTube, not me. This is how they deem their website and like algorithm to work. So I will forward your message directly to Susan Wojcicki's DMs, and you take it up with her.
Exactly. But the thing is, even that kind of falls on them, because the viewers still click the video, right? They're the
Yeah.
ones who decide whether or not these videos grow. They're like, because if nobody clicked them, if they were so uninteresting or so whatever, that just nobody should click them, these wouldn't be videos that are in front of anybody. But yet they are. They're in front of thousands of people. Because why? People click interesting videos. Who would have thought? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really annoying thing to see. I think that's it for this episode.
for sure. So like,
It was pretty fun, all things considered. I think we're getting back into talking about like abstract stuff. Because the JJK episodes, awesome, always awesome. But I feel like if we do them every single time, it's gonna get real old.
yeah, for sure. So
I mean, not for you and me,
yeah,
obviously.
for
Yeah.
that, yeah, for the audience. They're like, damn, JJK again. But yeah,
Like,
it just be like, we aren't just a JJK channel.
Yeah.
We do talk about other things.
And honestly, like, it's not like we can talk about it a lot every week and have enough variety, because the scope of JJK's power scaling isn't going to change in 1 week. I mean, I say that now, but literally,
Yeah,
he just
it
introduced the
can,
most
yeah.
broken technique in the series like last
Yeah,
week.
It can.
But
That's the crazy
usually,
thing.
usually,
Imagine it's like Yuta Kotsu was second in strength to Gojo Satoru. Then
Yeah.
Takaba showed up on the scene. Like, yeah.
bro, imagine, okay, Yuta copies Tabata's technique, and he copies Mai's technique, instantly stronger than Gojo, becomes god of JJK, banishes Kenjaku and Tengen into like the Shadow Realm, and he just like sits on the throne as like emperor of the world. That's how JJK is gonna end.
Fair, yeah. Can you imagine like all this build up for you to just be like, thanks, I'll now be taking the most broken technique in the verse.
Yeah. And you know what? Fuck. Okay, this is gonna be like a next week thing or just like a private convo, but like, let's just end this episode. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next week.
Peace.